Hold on.
They are at 2-3 with the Carolina Panthers coming to Southern California a week from today. You start to look at the schedule. This is the penalties of onward. This is what you
Oh, it's like way too behind now.
you get a schedule that's a monster. And through the first 5 games, if you were going to make the argument that there was an easy path to the season,
No, it's not capturing the volume.
at 2-3. South Carolina after that. It's Green Bay coming out, or excuse me, San Francisco coming out of the bye, and then it's nothing but.
No, it's not getting the volume. I'm gonna switch it to this one.
New Orleans Saints, Green Bay. It is going to be an absolute meat grinder.
First, when it comes to your opponents from other divisions, but then on top of that, like this is a team that we knew it was going to be a tough season regardless, but now you're seeing that they don't have the firepower possibly to repeat as the champions, right? This isn't the same team that we saw a year ago. Like there was always the Rams holding on, and we knew that, okay, if some things can happen, they can get on the run, they can get on the roll. I don't see that happening right now because I don't know who the guy that can come in and be a complementary piece to Cooper Kupp. I mean, Tyler Higbee has sort of been there, but he is not what Odell Beckham was to this offense last year. So the Rams got a lot of thinking over the next couple weeks so they can get themselves together.
Yeah, Kirk, it's interesting because, even last year when the Rams went through the month of November and they struggled and they lost to Tennessee, San Francisco, and Green Bay back to back, and Matthew Stafford went through a rough period where he was throwing interceptions and pick sixes, it didn't feel like there wasn't a solution to those problems. It felt like it was very, block it up a little better, make some better decisions with the football, run the ball a little more, and things will kind of start to fall back in line. And they did. And that's almost exactly what happened. Jacksonville comes into SoFi early December last year, kind of was a nice little reset button for them. And from that point forward, they look like the Rams all over again.
Correct.
We haven't seen that version. Even today, even when they hit Cooper Kupp on the long touchdown play, it never really felt like they had a firm grip on that game today. It felt like they had a lead and maybe they'd hold on to it, maybe they wouldn't. But usually with this Rams team over the last several years with Sean McVay, when they get their hands on a game, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And they're just going to grind you up and they're going to close this thing out. I haven't had that feeling once all season long.
I think that's because, again, you have to every year reinvent yourself. And what I'm seeing from Sean McVay and his offense and his team is that they're kind of sleepwalking a little bit, right? You lose in week 1 to Buffalo, and everybody's like, oh, man, what's going on? But we get it. Buffalo's a good team. Then you have back-to-back wins against Atlanta and Arizona, and you're like, okay, I think we've got things fixed. I think we're okay. And then all it takes is 2 more weeks for you to be humbled by the 49ers and Dallas Cowboys. That's where they're at right now. They're a team that's humbled. They got to figure out what to do now, okay? Because now you're starting to run out of time. You're 5 weeks into the season, so you're almost more than a third, almost of the season away. So you have to figure things out right now, like right away, because you don't want this this division to get away from you, because that's what you're fighting for first. But then if you don't win the division, you'll play in the wild card round, which is what you just want to get to the tournament.
And the wild card, look, the division is interesting because San Francisco won today. They're at 3-2. Everybody else in the division is at 2-3. So the division is still very much right there in front of you. But all of a sudden, this feels like a division that maybe if you don't win the division, you're not going.
Yes.
There might not be a wild card team coming out of the NFC West from what we've seen so far. 877-710-ESPN. That's the phone number if you'd like to get in and talk about what happened at SoFi Stadium today. The Cowboys beat the Rams 22-10. Let's start with Mo. Mo, you're on with Travis and Kirk on the Coors Light postgame show. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Just 2 things. Like, I don't know what more we can say about the offense. I think, Kirk, you just said it right there. It's like, it hit me today like, holy crap, we have no one else but Cooper Kupp.
That's it.
And I thought maybe going into this season we can run the ball more, but Cam's just not getting it done. I don't know what the deal with that. I like to see Darryl get the ball more, maybe 15. Just hand it off. Stop doing the screens and passes to him. Let him run the ball, actually. But a silver lining, the defense is playing great. Like, if you only give up 15 points offensively to a team at home, you're supposed to win that game. So
I agree.
I don't know what the offense has to do because it looks like everything's bad. But hopefully they can figure it out.
All right. Thanks, Mo. Appreciate the phone call. Let's talk about a couple of these things. I want to start with the defense that he mentioned right there and said the defense has been playing great. I might push back on that a little bit. It's played well. It's
well.
been good.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, this is Cooper Rush. That was not Tom Brady or Peyton Manning over there or Aaron Rodgers. It was a guy who is
Cooper
still
Rush
learning
beat the
his way.
Bengals. You know,
he has been good, and
Yeah.
he's done exactly what they want. But this felt, again, the Ram defense has been good, but we also saw 2 backbreaker plays today. We saw the long play with Tony Pollard for a 57-yard touchdown right there. And then Michael Gallup on a 3rd and 15 hauls in a long pass, a 27-yarder, a beautiful catch down the right sidelines. But again, an opportunity to get off the field a couple of different times, and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they couldn't get it done. So that's an area that they're going to have to work on, because you don't want that to be you want to get off the field on 3rd down. You keep allowing teams to stay out there. That's how more plays get ran. They eventually find the weakness of a defense. So I think the Rams are well aware of it. Now they have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do now moving forward? Because I think that's a difficult time right now for them.
Kirk, I want to start with this when we come back on the other side. Plus, we're going to hear from Rams head coach Sean McVay. But as a defensive player, you were a linebacker in the NFL for a decade. How does it change when you know that your offense is going to get you 10, 13, 14 points, as opposed to thinking, hey, look, they're going to get us 24, 27, 30 points.
Yeah.
Just, strategically, schematically, how does that change going into that? And as I mentioned, the head coach of the Rams, Sean McVay, when we come back on the Coors Light postgame show on the ESPNLA Rams Radio Network. Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rodgers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays. Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction,
And you can win $1 million.
and you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh.
Game show.
He's got it again. 3rd down, 13. Pressure up the middle. Floods to his right. He's one. Jump ball. Intercepted at the goal line. Overshot Allen Robinson, and the Cowboys have clinched it.
The Cowboys defense continued the woes for the Rams' high-powered offense.
The Rams fall to the Cowboys at home. Make that back-to-back losses. We get you closer to all that went down right now on the Coors Light postgame show.
Coors Light, keeping Southern California chill all season long.
On the ESPNLA Rams radio network.
This is the Coors Light postgame show, live at Hollywood Park Casino. Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
Once again, here's Travis Rodgers and Kirk Morrison.
22-10, the final score from SoFi. All Cowboys today. The Rams had one long one to Cooper Kupp. Other than that, not much cooking offensively for them. And Kirk, as a defensive player, and the Rams defense has been good so far through the first 5 games of the season. I would stop short of great, but certainly good enough when you look at the points allowed and what's been going on the last couple of weeks. The offense has not been doing their fair share of the work. Yeah. As a defensive player, how does that change the way you go into a game, knowing that, you know what, if we give up more than maybe 14, 17 points, we're going to be in deep trouble?
Yeah, I've been there before in my career because when you start out with a rookie quarterback, that tends to be what happens. And so for me, I know that was a mindset that you have going in, but it would make me play more tense. I wouldn't be able to take more chances because I know that if I gave up a play, that play would come back and haunt us in terms of a score, where we don't have enough offense to give me that score back, okay? And then, but you have what if you're on a Patrick Mahomes type team, right? The Kansas City Chiefs. I can play more aggressive because if I do get beat deep or I do mess up, what happens? Well, we got an offense that can get the points back. The Rams right now, you can't play up close and get a little more physical because what happens if you mess up, you give up the score, that score can last the entire day. Like today, you could lose a game in the first quarter. That's what happened to the Rams. They lost that game in the first quarter.
They were playing that opening possession. Felt like the whole thing was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a tight game to begin with. In the opening possession, not only ends up with you not scoring, but you giving the ball to the defense with a scoop and score, a free touchdown right there. Let's try another phone call here. Let's go to Oxnard this time. If you'd like to get in, it's 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. David is in Oxnard. David, what do you got for us?
What's up, man? As a Dallas Cowboy fan, I wanted to see what you guys think of my boys going forward after this game. But before I get to my point, though, I just want to say I love the game. It was great. As a Cowboys fan, I'm excited and glad we gave all those overnight bandwagon Ram fans something to think about now. And I got one question for you, Sweet Tea, Travis Rodgers. Whose house is it today? It's Cowboys' house, baby.
It was a lot of Cowboy fans out there for sure today, David. Kirk, what about it? The Cowboys are 4-1, and you go back to the opening night for them against Tampa Bay. Correct. The offense looked terrible. They didn't get anything going, and Dak breaks his thumb. You're thinking, oh my gosh, this could be a real mess for them, and they turn around and they're 4-1 with Cooper Rush leading the way.
Yeah, they're 4-0 in his starts. So I think there's a belief that everyone knows what they need to get done, right? Just be yourself, do your job, and maybe try to pick up the guy next to you. Only because Cooper Rush has been playing just well enough, right? All he's in there to do is just guide the ship home, right? You're the pilot. Make sure that this thing is a smooth landing. So he's not trying to do something that he's not, right? And I think that's why the Dallas Cowboys have been successful in these starts, is because you have a consistent person who knows the culture, knows the fabric, knows how to push players in the right direction.
You look at what the Rams have coming up on their schedule. Obviously, Carolina's coming up a week from today at SoFi Stadium, bye week, and then San Francisco after that. But because you're running Dallas's offense is, fairly tame. You look at San Francisco's offense is fairly tame. Carolina's is fairly tame. These games are close because of the opponent's offense and the Rams' defense.
Right.
If they start running into some teams that have the Kansas City Chiefs that they're going to play at one point, the LA Chargers that they're going to play later on the season, these teams that are offensively very dynamic, what might that look like if this offense continues to play the way
Well, you would hope that you get better, though. That's number one. You would hope that you get better on offense up until that point. But I think what you said, like what happens, it's just going to be a difficult situation. It's just hard. Trying to find ways to figure out the right combination of what you've got going on, but then trying to block out the noise of people who are in your ear, that's tough for anybody right now. And that's what the Rams are going through. That's what McVay is going through right now. Because early in the season, you expect, it to go the way that it's win the last 5-6 seasons. And yet this one particular has not been the key or has not been it for this team.
This is kind of a new wrinkle for Sean McVay, too, that we've seen him come in as a young coach. We've seen him kind of have to prove himself in this league, which he did very, very quickly. And then, okay, can you win in the postseason, which he did very, very quickly. Okay, can you win a Super Bowl, which in all things being equal, they did very, very quickly. This is really the first time where there have been big expectations and they're falling far short. This isn't just that they've lost a couple of games, because even last year, like we talked about, there are moments where this team hasn't looked at its best, but it felt like there was still a lot to be. This feels very different. This feels like a team that is struggling and might not be able to find the answer.
Yeah, you would hope that they find something. So this is where next couple of weeks you got to experiment, tinker around a little bit, throw some new wrinkles at it. I thought that having the wrinkle of throwing in Tutu Atwell today, I thought that was good. Probably also could have had him again on another opportunity, but everybody's chomping at the bit to get the football. Everybody's chomping at the bit to be a part of this offense. So you got to understand that, and that's what you have to tell the head coach. Like, this is who we are. This is what we're going to do. And then you just kind of go from there.
All right, so let's talk more about that. Let's talk about Tutu Atwell when we come back. But first, let's pause 10 seconds for our stations to identify themselves on the ESPNLA Rams Radio Network. Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rodgers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
$710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays. Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN.
Football fans, want to win $100 for picking 5 games against the spread? Just download the Cover 5 app for free. Compete with Travis and Sliwa each week for a chance to win $100. Here's what you need to do. Download the Cover 5 app, use the code TS22 to join our show league and start having fun all season long. Just download the Cover 5 app, use the code TS22 to join the Travis and Sliwa Show League, pick 5 games against the spread to win $100, or play all season long at cover5.com. 10 is final score. Cowboys are 4-1. The Rams fall to 2-3. And like we were talking about, Kirk, this is kind of a new era for Sean McVay. Just a lot of things are not working. Offense is not working. The special teams unit seems to be in disarray, and the defense has been okay, but certainly not what we've come to expect from that side of the ball either. Here's the head coach of the Rams, Sean McVay, after the game with J.B. Long.
Back at SoFi Stadium with the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay. And, Sean, I do believe that better days are ahead for this roster, this 2022 team, but right now they just have to weather this storm. How dark is it right now?
Yeah, it's tough. We've I think you find out a lot about people when you go through adversity like this, JB. So for that, I'm grateful. I'm going to continue to keep swinging. I'm going to try to be my best for these guys regardless of the circumstances. And these are some trying times right now, but we've got to figure out some things. Got to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and figure out, to a man, how we get better offensively, how we play better special teams-wise, and and how we start helping out our defense a little bit more, because they're giving us a chance. It is a team sport. We're going to stay connected, but we got to be able to start figuring out some answers. We got to be able to help out Matthew a little bit. Got to be able to help out Cooper a little bit, and that's a collective effort. It's a team sport, but these are some challenging times. But we're going to continue to dig our heels in and try to figure out solution-oriented things, and it's all we can do, man.
Look, you've gone through some rough times, and it's pretty dark, like you said now. But like you said, getting things fixed, I guess that would have to start with protecting your quarterback, protecting Matthew Stafford.
Absolutely, we're not giving him a chance, and. The problem is we've got to be better collectively, and you're exactly right, DeMarco. That's making it very difficult to operate when we're not really running the football efficiently. Then when you do have to throw it, we're leaving some free runners, and it's not a real good movie right now, but the story isn't written yet, and we're going to continue to keep swinging.
We'll leave it there and pick it up on the Coach McVay Show tomorrow. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, thank you.
Coach McVay with JB and DeMarco after the game.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
What do you like about it?
I just like that analogy. Like, the movie is not good right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to walk out of the theater, but he's saying, hold on. It's going to get better. It's going to be one of those movies that it'll be worth your while to sit back and finish this one. So I like that aspect of it, because he's saying that, look, in the beginning, it's not as good. And how many movies have you watched? In the beginning, you're like, oh, my God. Or how many shows have, your significant other, so, hey, sit down and watch this with me. You're like, I'm not watching this. And you watch it. And next thing you know, they're gone, and you're still watching it because you're hooked into it. And now you're like, you want to know, how do you fix this? You want to be the fixer, I should say. You know what I mean? And that's what I think what Sean McVay said. Like, first couple, you just hopefully things work out. Now you realize, I got some work to do. I think I got some work to do. This is all part of the Super Bowl hangover that you talked about.
Well, when you hear Sean McVay say that these are dark times, I think that speaks to it, because this is an incredibly optimistic person. This is an incredibly optimistic and positive head coach. And not that he's afraid of hard work, and not that he's afraid of trying to have to go in and try to figure out what's going to happen next. But I get it. This is the NFL. This is why they pay everybody all this money. Figure it out regardless of what's going on. But at some point, you have to wonder, and to hear him talk about that too, especially with Matthew Stafford, if your quarterback has no time, if by the time the snap hits his hands, he has to move off of his spot, or he has somebody right in his face, I don't know if that's a schematic or a hard work problem that you can solve as much as it is a personnel one.
Yeah.
And the personnel one right now, like you said, Kirk, this isn't like other sports. This is what you got. There's just not a minor league where you can pull some guys up and say, hey, let's try this. Yeah. These are your guys. You got to make it work with them, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, this ain't the NBA where you could trade, 3 guys on your roster and 2 future firsts,
right,
for one guy who can come in and really change how you play basketball for the rest of the season. This is a little bit more difficult when it comes to the Rams. This is, like I said, this is who they are for this season of 2022. Now, hopefully, maybe add a piece. You can make a trade here and there. But right now, this is a difficult stretch. It's a difficult run for the Rams. And the one thing I know is that it's not like they're giving up on the season. They're 2-3. It's still – everything is still in front of them. They got the Carolina Panthers next week. They can win that game and still sit at 3-3. And guess what? You got a 10-game season. You have a bye week, and it's a 10-game season. I feel more comfortable in knowing that than going into a next week and still nobody's buying in. I think the buy-in is there, but you realize at some point, like, we are not as good, but we also are not the same team. We don't have the same players. We've just – it's a little bit more difficult than we expected. I think it's just starting to hit them now.
Is a 9-8 season enough to secure a playoff spot in the NFC this year? Because if this season plays out like we've seen, and again, it's not like there aren't other wins out there. There's Carolina that you're going to have next weekend. That's a very winnable game. You're going to play Arizona again. You're going to play Seattle twice. These are teams that historically you have done very good against. And there are, you get to play the Raiders. Not that that's an easy game. There will be a lot of Raider fans here, like there are a lot of Cowboy fans as well. But there are games where you say, okay, just going down the rosters, we got a chance to win this game.
Correct.
But it does feel like the idea of, an 11, a 12-win season, a lot of things would have to change for that to come true.
Yeah, a lot of things would have to fall in the Rams' way. And right now, injury bug is not being the Rams' friend at all. Just a ton of injuries. And you got guys in new places. And you're hoping to just hold on until most of your guys come back. But right now, you're realizing that you're at I would say not the end of the road, but you are definitely at a crossing. Right? You're not the end of the road, but you're at a crossing. You got to figure out which way should we go. Are we going right or are we going left? What can we do in order to get better? What needs to be done? I think those are the parts that I think this offense has to figure out.
All right, let's try another phone call here, 877-710-ESPN. Let's go to Chris in Los Angeles. Chris, you're on with Travis and Kirk on the Coors Light postgame show.
Hey, fellas. It's getting kind of hard to continue to hear Sean McVay give us the same post-game speech about I got to put my guys in a better place, blah, 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 blah. And it makes me wonder if he's not overrated as a coach. He did some great things when he first came in. He won a Super Bowl, obviously, but, the ball has to bounce correctly. When he's got a specific problem like he has over the last few weeks, I don't see anything differently being done. I don't see, wide receiver screens or regular screens if your line can't protect for a long time. I'm just wondering if people are giving him more credit for being this great football mind than what is actually there. I hope he has more in the tank, but I don't see it. Every single week, it's the same problems. If I know my line can't block, I'm not going to run the same plays and cause the problems that we're having. So, I don't know. It just seems weird to me that we don't make the adjustments that need to be made.
All right, appreciate the phone call, Chris. I just want to make sure, Kirk, that I have this right. I just want to make sure that the question that was asked, I heard it correctly.
Yes, sir.
Is the head coach of the Rams overrated? He's been here for 5 years. He's had 0 losing seasons. He's been to the Super Bowl twice. He's won it once.
Correct.
And he's 2-3 so far this season.
Yeah.
And doing it with 3 third-stringers on his offensive line. I'm just making sure I heard that question correctly. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, you're hearing it correctly. You're hearing it correctly.
Okay.
That's where I think the panic is starting to set in.
Yeah.
With fans. Fans are, short for fanatic for a reason. So everybody's saying, what is going on? Is it, why aren't we playing the way that we did? And what's going on with Sean McVay overrated? And I was saying, how could he be overrated? What makes him overrated? He's come out and he's led his team to 2 Super Bowls within a
5 years.
5-year span.
0 losing seasons.
That is difficult to do. 0 losing seasons. That is very difficult to do. So why would I say that he can't adjust? I think he can adjust. It's going to be difficult, but if I know Sean McVay, he will find a way to get things done.
I think what is a fair criticism, to go to Mike's point, is that I think that he's slow to adjust. I think that is a fair point because but I'm gonna mix the streams here. I'm gonna bring up a Russell Westbrook point. Are you ready? Okay, here's what it is. What makes guys great is often what makes them slow to adjust.
Yes.
Is what makes them great is this is what I do. It does work. You have to believe in what it is that I'm getting ready to go do. And that's Russell Westbrook. This is how I've done it. Won MVP, average triple-double, everything else. It's like, yeah, I get it, but now I need you to do something else. I feel like there's a little bit of that going on with Sean McVay where they've been doing things a certain way, but because of all of the other things, because Allen Robinson may not be a great fit, because Van Jefferson or Odell isn't here, that I need to counterpunch or whatever it is, it may be a little bit slower coming.
Yeah, it'll be a situation in which you got to continue to keep repeating the process over and over and over again. They're not even halfway through the season yet. And to be in the position that they're in, I would be happy because I know that I haven't played my best football yet. Our offensive line is still banged up. We had guys in new places and new positions. Guys are still trying to figure out who that third wide receiver is. I didn't think it would mean as much to the Rams as I thought it would. But, yeah, they need a number 3 wide receiver. Van Jefferson, it could be a difference maker. And I'm just surprised that we haven't talked about that enough and how good that Van Jefferson can be for this offense, can be for Matthew Stafford, but also the running game as well because you got a legitimate receiver who can get behind people, can make all the throws, and you're going to put him, on your third corner fourth corner when it comes to defenses. So that's why I've been really impressed with, just with the situation that the Rams can still obtain.
All right, let's go to our Verizon Player of the Game coming up next. When we come back, the Rams fall to the Cowboys 22-10. That's next on the Coors Light postgame show on the ESPNLA Rams Radio Network.
$710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays. Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN.
Rams lose 22-10. The Cowboys are 4-1. The Rams are 2-3. Up next, the Carolina Panthers and maybe Baker Mayfield next week. He's reportedly in a boot, so maybe we'll get a little Sam Darnold return to Southern California action next week. Kirk,
I think the Rams will love that. By the way, if Sam Darnold is ready, if not, we may get some PJ Walker. How about that? Yeah,
little look back up to a backup.
Not
that's
Johnny
fine.
Walker, but PJ Walker.
PJ Walker, not PJ Tucker from the NBA.
There you go.
Yeah, PJ
or maybe
Walker.
even a little Cam Newton. You never know.
You never know. You never know. The Rams looking to get any break that they can get at this point. Right now, it's time for our Player of the Game, brought to you by Verizon. The network America relies on. Kirk, what about Dorrance Armstrong?
Yeah.
He sacks Matthew Stafford on the first series of the game. Ball comes out, scoop and score for the Cowboys going the other way. And then about 30 seconds later, he turns around and blocks a punt coming right up the middle on Austin Riley.
I've been a big Dorrance Armstrong fan for a long time, since he went all the way back to the University of Kansas. When this is before this emergence of Kansas football right now, right?
They finally got game day.
They finally got game day. They scratched that one off the book. Game day had never been to Kansas, but they made it to Kansas. And Dorrance Armstrong, people don't know this, but he was a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He was that good of a player as a defensive end outside rusher. Now, they've kicked him inside a little bit, playing a defensive tackle position, but he was outstanding today. With all the emphasis on Micah Parsons, right? We talked about how the Rams block Micah Parsons. Well, the Rams did a pretty good job for the most part, but it did give some guys some opportunities for the one-on-one matchup. Dorrance Armstrong, he won his one-on-one matchup, especially earlier in the game, creating a fumble that really got the game kicked off with the scoring, with the touchdown for their defense. But then even more so, the block punt as well that really got things going for them special teams-wise. So Dorrance Armstrong by himself today was a game record, made 2 huge plays, which ultimately put the Cowboys in the lead, and they never looked back.
What's going on with the Rams punt team? Because that's the second time they've had a punt blocked in the first 5 games of the season. And that's 2 in a season is a lot. 2 in 5 games is simply unacceptable.
Well, 2 things for me. One thing is I always look at operation, meaning the timing. How quick. Are they a little bit slower this year? What are they doing differently than in years past? Because remember, this is a new punter this year. You've had the luxury of Johnny Hekker for so many years. And so now Riley Dixon takes over as the punter for the Rams. And, I can count. I can't even tell you the last time I saw a blocked punt when Johnny Hekker was here. But now seeing one now with Riley Dixon has happened a couple weeks now. A couple times already this season. So to me, I always look at operation first and see if there's something there in which teams are finding that they can go out and block one on the Rams.
And both of the ones that we've seen are just coming from right in the middle of the rush, too. These are not guys that are running around the end and getting their hands on. These are they're practically taking the foot off, or the ball off of Dixon's foot. These are not just getting a hand on it. These are just snuffing it out before it even gets a chance to get kicked.
Yeah, and everybody's scouting the Rams. You always have a block of the week each week in the NFL, where guys come together and say, hey, if we're going to get a block, fellas, we're going to get it on this particular look. When they come out and they have this little wing, whatever, you just say, okay, this is our opportunity. We got to go get it. And we already knew that John Fossil, who's the special teams coordinator for the Cowboys, he knows his Ram organization very well. He spent a lot of time with the Rams. Actually was the interim Rams coach when Jeff Fisher was fired. And he had a plan, and he executed it. The Cowboys executed their special teams plan much better than the Rams. And that's what I think set the game up for them. They won offensively, they won defensively, and they won special teams. They won all 3 phases.
Let's try another phone call here. Let's stay in Los Angeles. This time it's Mark. Mark, you're on the Coors Light postgame show. What's going on, Mark?
Coming home from the game right now, was there. I hate to beat a dead horse, but we got to talk about, I don't think anything's bad other than the offensive line. Haven't seen, no boom. Those guys are awful. And I don't know if Sean McVay has to scheme and hold guys in the block and maybe send only 2 guys out or something. I want to know your guys' opinion on that. Throw Robinson out and Cooper and see if they can do that. But I feel bad for Stafford. The guy's going to be in so much pain tonight, he's not going to sleep well. I feel bad for him. What do you guys think?
Thanks, Mark.
Well, Mark, I can say this, that me and you are probably the only people associated with the Rams offensive line that didn't get paid this offseason. They all got paid pretty handsomely, right? Havenstein got a new contract. Brian Allen got a new contract. Joe Noteboom got a new contract. Dave Edwards, I think,
Coleman Shelton got one too.
Yeah, Coleman Shelton. That's who it was. Coleman Shelton. I said Coleman Shelton. I meant to say Coleman Shelton, not David Edwards. But everybody got paid. And then you realize quickly what happens. They've been hurt. And so they haven't had the same combination of offensive line for the first five games now.
5 games,
There's
5
five
different starting
games now, 5 different starters. They haven't had the same combination of starters all season long. That is the root of the problem. Also, they are without their all-pro everything, a guy that no matter what happened, when he walked in the room, he made everything calm. That was Andrew Whitworth. So you don't have that going for you. Sometimes the impact of a guy retiring or you releasing her, it's bigger than football. It's just a calming voice. It's, hey, fellas, look, block the guy in front of you. Hey, let's do this. So you're missing that part of it as well. And then I look at this. How many different basketball teams that we've always seen? And, you know, we're here in Los Angeles, so people know. LeBron always said it. Hey, we haven't even had our 5 together, our starting 5. We haven't been healthy. We haven't even had a chance to practice with our starting 5. I can't even give you a good evaluation of who we are as a basketball team because our starting 5 hasn't been healthy. Well, I can say the same thing for the Rams. Their starting 5 offensive linemen have not been healthy. How can we even evaluate what everybody else is doing offensively?
The starting lineup for the Rams up front, those 5 guys from left to right, is supposed to be Noteboom, Edwards, Allen, Shelton, and Havenstein. They've played together 1 game, and it didn't last very long before guys started to go down. And since then, you haven't had that group of 5 together since. You've got Jeremiah Colonna, who's a backup to a backup. You've got Alaric Jackson, who's a backup to a backup. David Edwards missed some time last week. Logan Bruss is done for before he even got started. Got hurt in the preseason. Coleman Shelton is down. Brian Allen is down. There just becomes a point where when backups to backups to backups are playing, what do you want anybody to do? I agree with what he was saying about keeping Matthew Stafford healthy. He's run for his life. He's not playing great, but I don't think anybody could, given the set of circumstances that he's been asked to play under so far. More of your phone calls coming up in just a little bit. 877-710 ESPN. Coming up next, we're going to take a look around the rest of the league here on Week 5. That's all coming up on the Coors Light postgame show on the ESPNLA Rams Radio Network.
Good day, ESPNLA. Nick Cardin here from Puente Hills Toyota, the house of yes. If you're in the market for a newer pre-owned Toyota, we are your peace of mind dealership.
Rams lose again. This one 22-10 to the Dallas Cowboys. The Rams are 2-3. Up next, the Carolina Panthers, who come to SoFi a week from today. That, of course, will be on October 16th. And, Kirk, I want to continue talking about what you mentioned there a second ago about Andrew Whitworth. And obviously, his decision to retire at the end of last season, you knew it was going to be impactful. Correct. And the question was, which part of it would be more impactful? Would it be not having a high-level left tackle who could hold down that side of the line of scrimmage? Or would it be what you were describing a minute ago, which is just when you saw 77 walk into the room, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. We're good. He's here. Everything's fine. These things are going to work out. After 5 weeks of the season, which do they miss more, the play or the guy?
They miss the play. No, I'll take the guy. Because I think that his presence within the locker room with everybody would be a situation in which he can calm everything down, right? I mean, even when you watch him on Thursday Night Football, the Amazon Prime pregame show, he keeps it to a point where he's saying it as thorough, as precise, and as comforting to understand what's going on. Hey, fellas, this is what's in front of us. Hey, our record is 2-3. And we got to go out there and just play our football. Everybody do your job just a little bit more. And that's what the Rams, I think, need right now. They need a guy who can be in there and make those comments. Aaron Donald is a great leader, but let's be honest, Aaron Donald leads by his play, not by his words. Because nobody's going to outwork him, right? He's Aaron Donald. Bobby Wagner he's the new guy on the block. He's the leader, but he's been with another organization for a long. Jalen Ramsey is going to be Jalen. And then Matthew Stafford, really still young in this offense, young on this team as well. Andrew Whitworth really brought, I think, a lot more than people gave credit for what he's been able to do.
All right, let's talk about some of the games that we saw across the NFL here. Week 5, it's our top 3, presented by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times. Eagles still undefeated, Kirk. They are 5-0. They survived. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-17. The Cardinals missed a field goal towards the end of the game right there. And here you are. We're in the middle of October, and Philadelphia is the last unbeaten team.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, man, what more can you say? The dude did not have a throwing touchdown. But this is where I keep, pounding myself, pinching myself, hitting myself. I really should have drafted him in my fantasy.
Two on the ground.
He was there for the taking. And I always thought, man, you got to get a guy who, when he can't get it done in the air, he can utilize his legs. Utilize what your talents are, your arm, and have the athleticism to be able to make plays with your leg. That's what he did today. The 2 rushing touchdowns. I believe that they find ways to win regardless of whatever the outcome will be, is because they find a way to win. So that's what I'm seeing right now from Philadelphia. They continue to impress. I'm glad the Rams don't have them on the schedule this year.
Yeah, no, that's one of the few really good teams that they do not play this year. The first ever London game between two teams with winning records. The Giants and the Packers both came in on the right side of the ledger. Packers lead with a 27-22 win, so kind of a double-barreled question here, Kirk. Okay. Are the Giants good, or the Packers just kind of mediocre, or can both of those things be true at the same time?
Both of those things can be true, but I always say everybody's got problems, and you look at the Packers. The Rams could also be the Packers as well, and I know the Packers are 3-2, but the Packers have their own problems. They're a team that last year had won 13 games. A lot of high expectations for them, and yet they can't figure out their wide receiver position right now as much. Aaron Rodgers is not washed, but their offensive line has had some of the same injury problems like the Rams. And then no Devontae Adams, so you're replacing guys as well. So everybody's got problems in the NFL. It's fun to see, how do you navigate these problems, or do they eat away at you all season long?
Look, there are not a ton of silver linings for the Rams right now. Mm-hmm. One of the very few is, you look at the NFC and you're like, nobody's great.
Yeah.
With the exception of Philadelphia, you look around, whether it's Green Bay, Tampa they won their game, but they did not look particularly effective today. You look around at San Francisco, I know that they're the Rams' kryptonite at this point, but they lose games too. That you look around, and at 2-3, it doesn't feel great to be a Rams fan right now. But there is nobody you're looking at. There's not 4 or 5 teams that are just kind of running away with it. Yeah. You're kind of everybody right in that same pack. The Chargers go on the road to Cleveland today. They get their 3rd win of the season. They're 3-2. They beat the Browns 30-28. And let's just say that Brandon Staley is very lucky that Cleveland missed a field goal at the end, because he decides to go for it on 4th down, which is his thing that he does. and did not get it. Cleveland gets the ball back on an incredibly short field, a chance to. They're up by 2 points. A field goal beats you at this point, and he goes for it. They don't get it. Now, for Charger fans' sake, thankfully the kick was missed, but just an inexplicable decision by Brandon Staley.
I kind of wanted him to lose just because of that. Like, that is just bonehead. I don't get it. And the thing is, this is a head coach, and I understand that you want to be aggressive, but I know little kids who play Madden that don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, go for it on 4th and 2 with a minute left with no timeouts. Like, it's just I never want to talk bad about a head coach because they're in that position because people believe that they can get the job done.
Yeah.
I think he can get the job done as a head coach, but some of his decisions, especially when it comes to 4th down, that is just, you don't do that.
It's a weird
what
thing.
What are you proving? You don't prove anything to nothing.
That's it
to
right
anybody.
there. I understand the decision to be aggressive. I understand the decision to have an identity and that we're going to go for it. But there are some times where you just say, look, doing nothing, i.e. the end of last season last year, just do nothing, and
Correct.
we go to literally do nothing. We go to the playoffs. Yeah. Or today, hey, punt it, make them drive most of the field with under a minute to go, no timeouts,
Correct.
a backup quarterback. This is not complicated stuff. This is fairly obvious stuff, and your identity should never usurp the idea of just trying to win the game that's in front of you.
What's the worst that can happen? That they drive down and you say, you know what? You walk across the field and say, hey, that was a hell of a drive. But don't hand it to them. Don't make it easier for them.
Back for another season. Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Shadano and Cap for your chance at $1 million.
All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays is back all football season on 710.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN. The biggest show on the radio.
I want to start by pointing out how stupid I am.
Mason and Ireland on 710.
I don't want to be that guy that gets caught with holes in his underwear.
Monday at 1 p.m.
on ESPN.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
Coming up Monday at 10 a.m. on LA's only local sports morning show, Travis and...
Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rodgers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
Travis Rodgers and Kirk Morrison.
22-10, the final score. The Rams fall to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys off to a great 4-1 start. They are looking up at the only undefeated team in the NFL, Philadelphia Eagles are 5-0 after beating Arizona today in the desert. Let's try another phone call here. Let's go to Covina this time. And Carlos, you are on the Coors Light postgame show with Travis and Kirk. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing? Long time Rams fan, and
You know what? It was a great game, but what's up with the run game? We have no run game this year.
Yeah, Kirk, I agree. The run game looks a little stale. Not a lot of creativity. I think the best play that we saw in the run game was the handoff to Cooper Kupp versus Arizona that ran into the end zone. That was it. You don't really see much. And I thought that you did get a little bit of a wrinkle when adding Ben Skoranek in as a fullback, right? Him being a wide receiver as a fullback. And so I wouldn't say that the running game is trash. I would say, more importantly, how committed to you in
That's
the run
it to
game.
me, Kirk.
I don't think it's a bad run game. I think the running game is there, but how committed to you as a coach are you with the running game, and how many times do you have a first down run? I mean, it's been first down run, first down run, first down run. Because after that, second down is pass, right? So it's like, oh, well, they only had 15 carries. Yeah, but majority of them are first down. And so even today, you had an opportunity on 3rd and 1 to run the football. You decided to go for a shot down the field, and you're sacked. It's just
sacked, and the ball comes out for a touchdown, going back the other way.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me, my mentality. You know,
15 carries today, just 38 yards. Cam Akers had 13 of those for 33 yards. That's 2.5 carries.
I guessed
yards per carry. Yeah, it was. You guessed exactly right. And there is this sense of, like you're saying, that they are predictable when they run it. They'll run it on first down occasionally, but even when they'll have a little bit of success on the ground, Cam Akers did have a 13-yard run today. It feels like they'll go to it again, and they'll go for 1 or 2, and then they're right back to throwing the ball in every play.
Yeah.
They don't seem committed to it the way that a team like San Francisco, you might stuff them up a few times, but they're going to come at it again and again and again. You're going to have to stop them on the ground. It feels like the Rams do it almost just out of obligation to show it so they can go back to passing the ball.
Yeah, because one of the things is that their offense is mirrored by the passing game and the rushing game is mirrored together. So what you see when they run the ball is what you're going to see when they pass the ball. It looks the same. That's how they get a lot of people, they get a lot of wide open guys a lot of times. But, today was one of those situations where I really thought that you would want to pound the rock. I mean, with the offensive line troubles that you've had, I would hope that that's what all you want to do is run the football and create some short third down, 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, and not the long 3rd down.
All right, not a bit of a mixed bag today for Matthew Stafford. 28 out of 42, 308 yards. He did have that 75-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. He also had an interception, and perhaps most alarmingly, 5 more sacks for Matthew Stafford today. He spoke with the media after the game.
We got to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Got to do a better job sustaining some drives, giving ourselves some more manageable situations, and find a way to get more points. Don't ever want to turn the football over. Don't want to start the game that way. Obviously, got to do a better job of trying to just get down maybe in that situation and let us punt the ball away.
You're good to go, Trav.
But not a great way to start the game. I was proud of the way we battled back, and then we just weren't able to sustain, enough stuff to, to score enough points. Well, I think the biggest thing for me is, moments like this, you look inward. And we got to find a way to make sure we execute on more of those plays, give ourselves a better chance to win.
Can you help us understand a little better about where the disconnect's coming in the run game?
I'll have to go look at the tape.
You've been sacked 21 times this year. How are you physically feeling?
It's I feel okay. It's part of the game.
Matthew, how much do you miss a player like Andrew on the offensive line?
Whitworth? Yeah, he's a heck of a player, Hall of Fame player, left tackle, great player. I thought Joe's done a really good job this year. There's been a lot of guys dinged up front for us. I think, guys have done a really nice job having to come in mid-game the last couple games and try to spell some guys that have had some things. So, that's part of it. Everybody in this league is going through something. When it comes to that kind of stuff, it's hitting us a little bit up front right now. But all the trust and confidence in the world of those guys to go out there and keep working together, keep communicating, find a way to fix it, and go play some good football.
How difficult
to function?
I think, it's probably your clock speeds up a little bit, just understanding that everybody's one-on-one everywhere, and your receivers should be able to, win a little bit quicker with no hole help or things like that. So each play is a little bit different, but I try to be as consistent as I possibly can to just click through my progressions and get the ball to the appropriate guy.
Does this feel similar at all to the 3-game losing streak you guys went through last year, or is this completely different?
I don't know. I don't like to compare. Just trying to live in the moment, figure out, what can I do better to help this team. And, don't want to sit there and think about things that have happened last year, 10 years ago, whatever it is. Just do everything I can to be here and now for the guys in that locker room, for our coaches, for everybody, to try to do whatever I can do to help us be better.
All set.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Matthew Stafford after the 22-10 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Kirk, when we come back, I want to talk about what I think he wants to say, which he will never say, but what I think we can all see with our own two eyes. That's coming up next on the Coors Light postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rodgers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN.
Football fans want to win $100 for picking 5 games against the spread? Just download the Cover 5 app for free. Compete with Travis and Sliwa each week for a chance to win $100. Here's what you need to do. Download the Cover 5 app, use the code TS22 to join our show league and start having fun all season long. Just download the Cover 5 app, use the code TS22 to join the Travis and Sliwa Show League. Pick 5 games against the spread to win $100. Or play all season long at cover5.com.
Cowboys defense continued the woes for the Rams' high-powered offense.
The Rams fall to the Cowboys at home. Make that back-to-back losses. We get you closer to all that went down right now on the Coors Light postgame show.
Coors Light, keeping Southern California chill all season long.
On the ESPNLA Rams radio network.
This is the Coors Light postgame show, live at Hollywood Park Casino. Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
Once again, here's Travis Rodgers and Kirk Morrison.
All right, Kirk, a little good news, bad news situation. The good news is that Tutu Atwell got his first catch as a member of the Los Angeles Rams. That's the good news. The bad news is it's week 5 of his second year in the league. But, we'll celebrate the fact that he got one. And it went for a big one. It's 54 yards, and it did bring a little element of something to a guy that can run like he can run. He got behind some people. They hit him for a big play.
And they tried it earlier, too. It wasn't like they only did it one time. They actually tried earlier. And just a little bit off between Matthew Stafford and Tutu Atwell, but they finally did it again. And if that's what Tutu Atwell is going to be, that's what we saw throughout training camp. And we thought we were going to see more of that during the season. We have not. That could be a new wrinkle. So now when Tutu Atwell is in the game, definitely makes the safeties and everybody back up a little bit, opens up the underneath. Maybe that could be what Allen Robinson is missing, having someone on the opposite side who can take the top off the defense where he can run the short intermediate routes. Allen Robinson is not going to run by you, okay? But he can definitely do what he can in terms of being in front and running the short intermediate routes.
Allen Robinson, 3 catches for 12 yards, and the only thing more disappointing than 3 catches for 12 yards is that was one of his better days.
Yes.
I know he had the touchdown against Atlanta, but he continues to be in a tough spot that even when they did target him a little bit more today, the way that they did, they targeted him 4 times along the way.
Yeah.
They're for short gains. The second the ball's there, he's tackled, he's on the ground.
Yeah, he's a catch and get on the ground guy. He's not a catch and run guy. And a lot of it was more in the catch-up phase of the game. And I want to see him make some meaningful plays in meaningful times, not when the Rams are behind. I want to see him start the game off hot, start the game off in a situation in which I think that he can really be a factor early on. It's just that the Rams wait so late. I mean, he gets one pass, and think about it, the pass that he caught in the first half was more out of desperation from Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's like moving around in the pocket. He's trying to move, and he just sidearms one and throws it to Allen Robinson. He was the intended target. They need the Rams to get more intended targets for Allen Robinson.
So you mentioned Matthew Stafford right there, and the play that you're talking about with Allen Robinson in particular, he was flushed out of the pocket again. He was running, and Robinson flashes in front of him, and very quickly he throws a little sidearm pass, and Robinson made a nice catch on in that particular play. But it was indicative of most of the afternoon for Matthew Stafford, where he is running like crazy. And, you can look at the final numbers, 5 sacks on the day. That's on 7 sacks on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers. He's been sacked 21 times through the first 5 games of the season. Matt Ryan's been sacked 21 times through the first 5 games of the season. 7 interceptions, just 5 touchdowns along the way. And listening to him the way that we did there a minute ago, he's been around this league a long time. He's not going to throw anybody under the bus. He's not going to say the reason I'm not doing my job is because X, Y, and Z. That's never coming. But the fact of the matter is, the reason he's not doing his job is because no one could do that job with the amount of time that he's been given to do it.
Yeah, you can't. we've been talking a little bit now, and I kind of go back to the sequence where the Rams got the ball on the 29-yard line after a punt to Brandon Powell. And so they got a return punt, set them up at the 29-yard line. And Sean McVay decided to do a trick play. Didn't work. Then the next down didn't work as well. Now third down, I believe, or right before you got a penalty. And the Rams didn't get points out of that situation. There's moments in the game that I just, like I said, I scratch my head and say, that's where you lose a football game, right? Trying to get too cute in a moment where you just had to go out and just go get points and go win. So that's the part for me that I look at Sean McVay a couple times and I question his play calling. Not overall. I think he calls great plays. But I think there are certain moments where, hey, you need to be more aggressive. And I don't know if I want to go for a Cooper Kupp throwback on the 29-yard line when I'm just trying to get points. You do that when you're up already. You do that when the game's tied. Not when you're down.
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you do that when you know that what you would run traditionally just does not have a great deal of a chance to be successful? When I know that my typical offense, my running with Cam Akers, my throwing to Skoranek and Higbee and Allen Robinson outside of Kupp, I just know that I'm not going to have a great deal of success there, so I have to think out of the box?
Yeah, I think that may be it a little bit. Maybe. I'm surprised at that play call by Sean McVay coming out of that break. You just did a great job and be on the aggressive, run the football more effectively. That just didn't happen, and now that's why you're looking at your record right now, 2-3.
What do you think the vibe inside that locker room when they get back together on Monday and this week they start to prepare for Carolina? And this week, I should say, this league it's relentless. You really don't get a ton of time. The Rams do have their bye week right around the corner. They'll play Carolina on Sunday, then they're off, and then they come back and play another home game here at SoFi. 3 in a row for them against the San Francisco 49ers, which, home game, maybe not. At least it's here in Southern California. But when you know that this is the part of the season where it really could start to go in one direction or another, and a team coming into town that you probably should beat.
Yeah, I mean, humility is only 1 week away in this league, and the Rams had a short week, and they didn't cash in, didn't capitalize on the opportunity, I think, this week to take care of the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming in on a nice little high after having what they did, having how they played against the San Francisco 49ers last week. But, you got to come in thinking about this. The Rams are at 2-3, and it seems like they're desperate. The crazy part is the team that's coming in at 1-4 is more desperate than they are.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers.
Well,
they're playing. You got a coach that's playing for his job.
Somebody's season is probably real close to being done. Whoever loses that game on Sunday, at 2-4, at 1-5, coming back from something like that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's extremely unlikely to put yourself in that kind of hole and still be playing meaningful games in the end of December and January.
Yeah, 100%. You got guys that next week. It's crazy because it's so early on, but you got some teams that are playing for the rest of their seasons. Like, if we don't win this one, we're not winning our division, and I don't know if we can get to the playoffs. So you're playing for hope right now just to stay afloat. That's what next week is for Carolina. I don't know, for the Rams, they still have – they're in a division where Seattle, I think, lost today, right?
Yes.
Seattle lost. Arizona lost.
Yes.
So the bottom half of the NFC West is still 2-3. And then you have the 49ers that have now 3-2, which you looked at me different this morning when I said I think San Francisco is gaining interest in the NFC.
You look around the NFC, and after Philadelphia, I don't think it's a huge stretch to say that they're probably in that segment. Maybe Dallas, especially if Dak comes back and continues to, be Dak Prescott that we've seen. But San Francisco's put themselves right in the middle.
They got a quarterback that's been there, man.
Yeah.
They got a quarterback that started a Super Bowl, that started an NFC Championship game. I think that matters. It does. I really didn't think about it until today about the question you presented. And I'm like, it could be the San Francisco 49ers where they play. So the Rams actually have a chance to see in a couple weeks. I don't want to skip over next week against Carolina, but, if you handle things next week against Carolina, you have a great opportunity to really put your team, your record, back on track with a win against the 49ers after your bye.
All right, let's try to the phone call here. Let's go to Sylmar this time, and Davis in Sylmar. Davis, you're on with Travis Kirk. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? So
obviously what I'm about to say is probably been said. It's just obvious, man. This team is very predictable, and I think teams with better defensive lines and just better defense overall already know what's coming. They're blowing us up at the line of scrimmage, and then we have to put Stafford in a bad position to try to get us a first down when he's facing second and long. It's crazy. This team is I think we're missing a spark, man. And I don't know what it is, but we kind of feel like a Big Ten school, like Iowa or something. We're just like, we're missing something on this offense, and it's getting horrible, man. It's not panic time yet. As a Ram fan, I'm not even mad about today's loss. It was kind of expected, especially with the banged-up O-line. But, man, I feel like we're missing a spark. And who's calling these plays? Like, we're 3rd and 1. We brought Malcolm Brown back, and you can't even put him in a run on that short yardage to get a first down. It's kind of it's mind-boggling. I'm confused as a Ram fan. Like, you look at last year, even the year before, it's like, how did we get to this point? It's like, is it Cohen calling plays or is it McVay? And if it's McVay, I mean, I don't know, man. It's not concerning, but it is at the same time. But I know that the Rams can honestly pull it out, and I think we got a good chance to win this division. So, I mean, it's still up for grabs. The San Francisco 49ers, they're 3-2, and we're 2-3. But I still think we have the chance, man. And if anybody's going to put it together, I believe it could be this Rams team. But again, man, this offense is very predictable, and we're putting ourselves in bad.
Yeah, Davis, let me jump in there real quick. Appreciate your phone call. I think that if you're looking for silver linings, the silver lining is what he just described, which is really nothing has looked particularly good through the first 5 games. You're a game out of first place. The team that you're chasing, you're going to play in 3 weeks and a chance to even the ledger and put yourself right back in the middle of it. That's the silver lining. The other side of it is that you're not playing well. The other side of it is that what he was talking about, it has felt predictable a lot of times. It does feel like you can kind of feel what they're going to do next. And you're going into a Carolina game that you should probably win, then a bye, and you're coming out against the team that's been your nemesis for the last several seasons. Mm-hmm. It really, these next 3 weeks, including the bye, is really going to let you know what this Rams team is.
Yeah, I think the next couple of weeks will let you know where, you need to improve. And you could also find, I think you'll find that in this next couple weeks, you'll know who the guys you can count on, who you can depend on, right? And look, the Super Bowl hangover is real. I think we really have to start thinking about that this team, I think you already know that, hey, everybody wants to beat you because of who you are. But I think now it's a situation is they got to find that hunger again. Right? It's always that team that wins. Do you find the same hunger to come back and go do it again? And it takes teams who have won a year or two to say, man, we got embarrassed a year after. I want to get that winning feeling. So this isn't something that's new to the NFL. We've seen this before. Tampa Bay, same thing a year ago. They won the Super Bowl. They got exited quick, by the
second round. And we saw it with San Francisco the year after they got beat in the Super Bowl. And, Davis used a word there that I want to come back and we can talk about a little on the other side. Plus, we'll hear from the head coach, Sean McVay. Spark. That there was a lot of little spark moments last season and really in the Sean McVay area. And so far through the first 5 weeks, we have not seen a lot of sparks, not a lot of fire hazards at the moment in the Rams offense, Kirk. And as mentioned, Sean McVay, will hear from him. That's all coming up on the Coors Light postgame show on 710 ESPN.